Good morning from Camp Bonsteel, or maybe I should say good evening. Depends on what time zone your perspective is right now. But regardless, I'm honored to be able to have an opportunity to say a few words to Geneva Academy's 2020 graduating class. Girls, obviously, I would prefer to be there, but just know that I am there with you in my heart as we go through this today. As I began to prepare for this Father's Charge, I could not help but reflect on the unprecedented and extraordinary times that we are living in. And it's not lost on me that this year, your senior year, is probably not the year that you had expected. And I can speak from a parent's point of view, and I'm sure the teachers would agree with me as well. In fact, girls, you might even be a little frustrated or disappointed on how things have turned out, because it's been anything but normal. But I can assure you, this year will be a year that you will never forget. As I thought about the year I graduated from high school, I tried to remember anything of significance that occurred that year, and I couldn't remember a single thing. However, a quick search on Google helped me remember that Walk Like an Egyptian by the Bengals was #1 on the pop charts, that President Ronald Reagan and Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev signed a weapons treaty, that that Microsoft launched Windows 2.0, and that a squirrel shut down the NASDAQ stock exchange by burrowing through a phone line. While these facts may have seemed important at the time, they weren't important enough to be etched in my memory for immediate recall today. Kaitlyn and Heidi, this year, this time, on the other hand, your graduation will be a year that you'll never forget. As if the senior year in high school isn't challenging enough with the uncertainties of what lie ahead, the prospects of a bright future. It's the end to an era of a very important time in your life. And of course, there's the capstone project that Mr. Hallgrimson pushed you on incessantly throughout the year. I would further characterize this year as a VUCA environment. When I was in the United States Army War College, we learned to describe strategic military and political situations based on its volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous nature. Well, from what I've observed here in Kosovo, 2020 has been anything but normal and could probably best be described as volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. I need not go into detail about what's going on around the world, what's happening in our nation, and what's happening even in the state of Oregon for you to probably agree with me that we are living in some interesting times. And thinking about what I wanted to share with Kaitlyn and Heidi today, the word resilience or resiliency came to mind. While in many instances this word is used casually or flippantly, but it is a characteristic that we all have in us. Researchers will debate whether or not you are born a resilient individual or if it's a trait or characteristic that you learn. It has also become very popular in corporate America to have resiliency training, and I can tell you that the United States Army has incorporated resiliency training into annual requirements for every single soldier. I would argue that resiliency is both an innate and a learned character, but it is a lifelong undertaking. The dictionary defines resilience as the ability to recover from or adjust easily to adversity or change. The U.S. Army further goes on to define resiliency as the mental, physical, emotional, and behavioral ability to face and cope with adversity, adapt to change, recover, learn, and grow from setbacks. While I am certainly no professional resiliency trainer or a research scientist looking at the different aspects of how one can be or become more resilient, I can say that the graduating class of 2020 has had a crash course in resiliency. I would like to share a few thoughts with you on your faith, on how your faith and your ever-loving God provides you with resiliency in challenging times. Philippians 4:13 says, "I can do all things through him who strengthens me." Now, when Paul penned this message to the Philippians, it was intended to be a message of encouragement. At the time, Paul was imprisoned, and there would be no question that it would be a period in his life where depression and anguish could set in and rule his thoughts and actions. Girls, over the years, I've watched both of you learn to love your God, our God, and depend on him in challenging times. Your actions and your words have shown your love for him, and I am encouraged to find that you both find your strength in him. Kaitlyn and Heidi, always remember that in him you can find strength to do things that are unimaginable. Aim high in your life goals and find great comfort in knowing that he is always there with you. Paul's instructions in Ephesians chapter 6 resonates well with me as a soldier. It provides a great portrayal of how we can find strength and courage in God to be resilient under any circumstance. Paul urges the Ephesians to be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might, to put the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. Our loving God provides us with resiliency that not only he can provide, the strength that we are given through him and our faith in him will help us through any challenge. Paul goes on in Ephesians to describe the details of the kit or the equipment of a fully armed soldier, that which God provides when we put our faith in him. He says, "Stand therefore, having fastened on your belt of truth, and having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and as shoes for your feet, having put on the readiness given by the gospel of peace. In all circumstances, take up the shield of faith, which with you can extinguish all flaming darts of the evil one. And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying at all times in the Spirit with prayer and supplication." Obviously, this passage resonates well with me as a soldier. And as I sit here sharing these thoughts from over 6,000 miles away from home while deployed overseas, Kaitlyn, Heidi, I'd like to share a couple more simple thoughts on why God has equipped you so well in your faith. I'm saying this as from a father's perspective, and a little bit of advice going forward. Stand firm in the Lord and his love for you, and rely on his strength to guide you in life. Find confidence in the truth and the righteousness that he provides. Your faith in him will equip you to handle any situation. Be comforted in knowing that he is always with you. He is in control, he is good, and he is always victorious. In life, it is more important to be pleasing to God than to worry about what others think or say about how you should act or be. Share God with others, not only in words, but in your actions. Let your bright spirits be an example for others to follow. Be good listeners and strive to understand others by engaging in godly and productive discourse. And lastly, but certainly not least, love God. Isaiah 41:10 says, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Girls, know that as parents, as teachers, and as a community, we are extremely proud of you and all that you have accomplished throughout your high school years. It's been an honor and a joy to watch both of you become beautiful, intelligent young women. And we are all excited to see what God has in store for the next chapter of your life. Thank you, and God bless.